Shalom, giving all praises, honor, and glory to our power Yahweh, Baha Shem Yahweh Shah, Baha Shem Kodash, double honors to the apostles, the bishops, and the elders of Great Millstone. Peace and blessings to the hopeful elect of the tabernacles of David scattered throughout the four corners of the earth. Whomever you may be, whoever you may be, to I say Shalom, Yahshua, Shalom. Right, just a small little quick, brief little hit here. Um, a couple things I saw here, more like a helpful hints and info. So it says Pentagon signs AI deals with 7 major tech companies for classified networks. All right, Pentagon signs AI deals with 7 major tech companies for classified networks. All right, so it says on Friday, May 1st, 2026, the Department of Defense announced new agreements with 7 major technology firms to integrate their artificial intelligence models into the military's most secure classified networks. The Pentagon reached deals with SpaceX, OpenAI, Google, Microsoft, Nvidia, Amazon Web Services, and Reflection to deploy their frontier AI tools across impact level 6 and 7 environments. The notable exclusion of Anthropic follows a high-profile dispute in which the Trump administration labeled the startup a supply chain risk after the company insisted on safety guardrails that will limit the military's use of its models for lethal autonomous warfare. All right, for lethal autonomous warfare. It says these agreements are part of a broader AI acceleration strategy led by Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth, aimed at transforming the U.S. military into an AI first fighting force, because AI is their god. They're making AI, you know, they're putting AI into everything. All right, AI first fighting force capable of rapid data synthesis and decision making in complex combat scenarios. The move effectively diversifies the Pentagon's AI portfolio, moving away from a previous heavy reliance on Anthropic's Claude model, which until recently was the primary AI tool available on the department's classified systems. Okay, and it just shows more of the same from different sources. So there was a Pentagon signs AI deals with 7 major tech companies for classified networks. Now I'm gonna take you over to a screenshot here that I took. So this is a good old Palantir. So it says Palantir has embedded itself into, all right, all these different places: DoD, the Department of Defense, U.S. Army, U.S. Air Force, U.S. Marine Corps, U.S. Special Operations Command, DHS, the Department of Homeland Security, ICE, which is also similar to Homeland Security, Immigration Customs Enforcement. Well, it says HSI, which I really don't know what HSI stands for, but it looks like a normal like police badge almost, or similar. Uh, Anyways, HHS. I can't remember what HHS stands for, but CDC, Center for Disease Control, FDA, Food and Drug Administration, USDA. All right, back to back. All right, FBI, Federal Bureau of Investigation, Department of Justice, DOJ, the IRS. Everybody loves the IRS, right? IRS. All right, Central Intelligence Agency, the CBP. I don't know what that stands for though. Can't really read it. Something about border. I don't know. I don't know what that's for. Anyway, CBP, the FAA, the Federal Aviation Administration, the NSA, the National Security Agency, the SSA of all things, Social Security Agency, NASA. We are equipped with the Serpent's Tongue. Look like it's sticking through a portal. I don't know. Serpent's Tongue, NASA, and Louisiana's favorite, right? The FEMA. Okay, and also goes on the list: the Department of State, Department of Treasury, Recovery, Accountability, and Transparency Board, Joint Improvised Threat Defeat Organization. Never heard of that one. JITO, Joint Improvised Threat Defeat Organization, and then United States Military Academy at West Point. So it says the Palantir has embedded itself into all of these places. And at the bottom it says data is power. Palantir has access. And all they've been talking about, because it all leads up to one ultimate goal, the CHIP. Okay, digital systems, CHIPs. All right, um, collection of data about this, about that. They, talks about smart dust as of late. Getting people's biometrics. You know, everything from their physical characteristics, things that they like, places they go, they shop, surveillance, all this mass surveillance. And Palantir is a big major filtering system for all these, you know, all these groups of data that's being collected. All right, Palantir is the filtering system. Okay, the bottleneck, so to speak. And what comes out on the other side, a mass surveillance, being able to identify people in all these to the same place that all these other different topics lead to, all right, to the micro C-hip, okay? So I thought this was very interesting when I saw this little screenshot. Actually, I downloaded, same different screenshot, download, whatever. Okay, but yeah, this is 1, 2, 3, 6, 12, 18, 27 places, all right? Palantir has embedded itself into 27 different places, that all collects data on people, and it's all to what? Identify people. Okay, Homeland Security, we need to identify you. Voting, we need to identify you. Banking, we need to identify you. Then we know what they're doing these things for. It's slowly setting that stage for the CHIPs, all right? So, I thought this was very interesting there. It says data is power. Palantir has access. And the first thing we got into was just something, totally different there. But yeah, so it's just some quick, like I said, nothing heavy. I guess we can quote 2 Corinthians chapter 2, verse 11. Let Satan should get in advantage of us, for we are not ignorant of his devices. All right, and Palantir is a major device that Esau is using. But I'm going to leave it at that. Lord willing, you edify. Shalom.
Look, Trump is not building a ballroom. This much, I feel like, is obvious. I made a video about this a few weeks ago, giving a thesis of what I think is actually being built, and that video got taken down on my TikTok after about 8 million views, so I re-uploaded it here. And if you haven't seen that one yet, I recommend going over and watching that because it gives you a good basis for where we're starting out from. But I wanted to follow up on my theory, okay? Because in the original video, while I had some solid architectural analysis from Andrew Kerr, it was mostly based off of like a gut instinct, in my own pattern recognition. And since then, I have been digging deep, scouring the web across databases and looking for records, and I have come back with actual receipts, like some actual verifiable public record receipts. And now my theory is stronger than ever, okay? Because I know that Trump is not building a ballroom. He's building an underground data center, and I have the receipts now to prove it. But really quick, if you want to read all of the sources and the documentation for yourself from this video, then they're all going to be linked at the bottom of my Substack, the Dre Dossier, and that's going to be in the description below. And your support means the world to me, so please like this video and subscribe to my channel because TikTok is slowly going to the bad place, and I'm trying to build my presence here on YouTube so that I can keep doing this kind of work with you guys. So sincerely, thank you all so much. And with that, let's get into it. So you're probably thinking, okay, well, where did you even come up with this idea, right? And to that I would say, well, where does one come up with any evil genius idea? Larry Ellison, of course, my nemesis. You see, a few months back, I was doing a deep dive on Larry Ellison and his relationship with Israel and the war in Gaza. And it was during that research I came across something about Oracle building these underground data centers in Jerusalem in 2021. See, they were 9 stories deep under solid bedrock, about 160 feet underground, and designed to survive missile strikes. They were completely invisible from satellites. See, Israel needed data sovereignty, a place where their most sensitive military data could live that was physically unhackable and under complete government control. And when you're running these classified military operations, intelligence gathering, or government AI systems, you can't just have that data sitting in some commercial cloud that might be in another country or vulnerable to attack. And after learning all of that, I remember thinking to myself, all right, well, we're going to just go ahead and put a pin in this for now, right? Like, this is all really fascinating, but I don't know what to do with any of this information, but I'm sure that it'll come in handy later. And later in handy did it come, because fast forward a few months and I'm reading about Trump's new ballroom announcement, and that pattern recognition side of my brain starts tingling. Why, you ask? Well, let me just read the specs out loud to you, okay? Because Oracle's underground facilities in Jerusalem were 90,000 square feet and cost around $319 million. Trump's ballroom is about 90,000 square feet and $300 million and climbing. Curious. And then on January 21st, 2025, you have Trump's first full day in office, and Larry Ellison is standing next to him and Sam Altman, and they're giving this White House announcement about Project Stargate. Now, I'm not kidding when I say I could write an entire dissertation on January 21st, because they gave us so much information in that announcement that I feel like, quite frankly, many of us just glazed over. And I've broken it down ad nauseum in other videos and over on my Substack, but the short version is this. Project Stargate is this $500 billion AI infrastructure initiative for government operations, defense intelligence, and consolidating federal data across agencies. Because all of these AI initiatives Trump and his team keep launching need infrastructure. They need servers, power, cooling, and security. And then you look over to who's donating to Trump's ballroom project, right? And the coincidences just keep stacking up on one another. And so I'm sitting here thinking to myself, okay, if this is actually what's happening, right? If this is actually what's being built, then there's got to be some evidence somewhere. Like, you can't just build an underground data center without leaving any paper trail. And so I start digging, right? Because the first thing I want to know is who's actually building this thing. So their lead contractor is Clark Construction. And I went to their website to see what kind of projects they normally work on. And under their critical facilities division, here's what they publicly list. So you've got National Geospatial Intelligence Agency campus, a CISA cybersecurity headquarters, UCENTCOM headquarters at MacDill Air Force Base. I'm reading all of this thinking, okay, so these guys build some serious government facilities. Like, these are no joke. But then I'm thinking, okay, well, if they're this comfortable touting these publicly listed, high security projects, then what aren't they listing? So I keep digging a little further, right? I'm going through these different government contract registries, procurement records, that kind of thing. And then bingo, I found some redacted contracts for Clark Construction, some top secret contracts, it looks like. And you'll never guess who they're for. Well, I mean, we can't guess because they're redacted, but I mean the type of job they're for. Guess what kind of job they're for. If you guessed data centers, you'd be correct. And it's not even like one or two of these kinds of contracts I found, right? Not even three. I found six redacted contracts for data centers that they built around the US. And again, I'll link all of these contracts in my Substack if you want to go check them out, but they're just listed as literally confidential client data centers 1 through 6. And the client names are obviously classified because the facilities themselves, I'm sure, are classified. I mean, Clark's own description of their work says that they focus on security and survivability, reliability and redundancy, and complex critical facilities. So the company whose specialty is building classified data centers for clients that they can't even name is building the ballroom. Okay, sure, Jan, sure. And here's where it gets even more interesting, because Clark Construction holds a NAVFAC contract, Naval Facilities Engineering Systems Command, with a $950 million ceiling. And the way these contracts work is admittedly very clever. So the total value of these contracts is public, but the individual task orders, like the actual work that's being done, that can be considered classified, which means they can hide the true value, cost, and scope of projects by funneling them through these pre-existing military construction contracts. So not only do they specialize in classified data centers, but they have a mechanism to hide what they're actually building. And then on December 4th, something pretty wild happened. Trump fired his ballroom architect. His name was James McCreary, and he was this classical architect who designs these beautiful churches and historic buildings, designing buildings like the Cathedral of the Most Sacred Heart of Jesus and the Supreme Court gift shop. I mean, say what you will about the guy, but he's got range. But alas, Trump replaced him with a different architect, a guy by the name of Shalom Baranes. When I say I went to look this man up and my jaw dropped to the floor, so a little background on him. After 9/11, when the Pentagon needed to be rebuilt and hardened against future attacks, they hired Shalom Baranes. Yeah, this man designed the post-9/11 hardening project for the Pentagon, the secure wedges, the skiffs, the bomb-resistant architecture. This was all Shalom. And skiffs, by the way, are sensitive compartment information facilities. They have electromagnetically shielded rooms for classified intelligence work and are built to survive missile attacks. And it's important you know what skiffs are because this comes back into play a little later on. And his portfolio doesn't stop there. It gets a lot more intense with DHS headquarters, Treasury building modernization, the GSA headquarters secure facility, the CISA cybersecurity headquarters that, yes, Clark Construction also built. Yeah, so these guys have rendezvoused together before. And at this point, I wanted to see if I could take a peek at what was happening on the ground. So with my last remaining week of my free Planet Labs subscription, description, I looked through some satellite imagery, and what I saw astounded me. And I saw that these flatbed trucks had been photographed delivering these massive steel caissons to the site. Now, from what I understand about caissons, is that they are these huge cylindrical retaining structures, basically. You use them for deep underground construction. They're designed very specifically to hold back soil and water pressure whenever you're going way deep underground. So you wouldn't use them for just standard foundation. And then I saw this heavy lift crane that was like permanently anchored into a concrete pad. I mean, that seemed to be for some long duration construction involving heavy structural materials and lifts from a deep excavation pit. And all of this brought me to my next question, which is if this is actually going to be a data center, then that means they're going to need a massive amount of power. Because data centers consume insane amounts of electricity. So I started looking into what's been happening with DC's power infrastructure. And here is where it gets interesting. In August and September of 2025, just weeks after Trump's announced the ballroom in July, PEPCO filed emergency requests for infrastructure work near the East Wing. And this called for an emergency relocation of water infrastructure, large-scale waterline modifications, and something called Champlain Substation Modernization, which I still haven't quite figured out what that means. But PEPCO's own language in the emergency filing says that there's a lack of alternative supply capacity in downtown DC. And now here's the thing about that. Downtown DC office occupancy has been declining since COVID. I mean, half the buildings are empty. In general, the commercial real estate market is shrinking, not growing. So where's this new massive power demand coming from? And speaking of infrastructure, DC Water increased their capital spending by $300 million, including a specific study of the Federal Triangle area. I found a post by the Washington Aqueduct, which is run by the Army Corps of Engineers, and they were warning that data centers are planning to use Potomac River water for cooling. So at this point, I've got the contractor who builds classified data centers, the architect who designs Pentagon bunkers, physical evidence of deep underground construction, and massive power upgrades along with massive water upgrades. And so the next question I have is, who the hell is funding all of this? Trump says it's being privately funded, and the White House put out a rough list of donors, although most...
This is going to be an add-on here, because I originally closed out the lesson that I did already. But I was looking into some stuff yesterday I thought was interesting to share. Beginning with that video, which I actually watched this other guy's video. He was talking about a bunch of different things. I forget his name and his channel, whatever. But in that video, I ended up finding the video we just played, which that clip is about 16 to 17 minutes long. I just took that major, chunk there that I wanted to put into the video. Fair use, by the way. I guess it's too late for that now. But you can watch the whole video. There's a couple other videos that she was talking about on a similar topic that I want to also watch from her, because it's very interesting. But the name is the Dre Dossier. Okay, the Dre Dossier. Dre, D-R-E-Y. Okay. And basically her title was I think it's like the Trump ballroom is a lie, something like that. You probably find that exact video if you type that in, her name of the channel or whatever, the Dre Dossier. All right, the Dre Dossier, the Trump ballroom is a lie, something like that. And so it was very interesting because the original video that I already recorded, which was in the top portion, of this video here, I had already recorded, and then a name pops up, Oracle. Okay. And so I just have a couple things here that I put into the Google just to bring this all together. So, Oracle Israel Data Center, right? So it says Oracle operates a highly secure underground cloud region in Jerusalem, Israel, designed for high availability and data sovereignty. All right. Located 50 meters or 160 feet below ground in a bunker within the Har Holtzvim Tech Hub. All right, the Har Holtzvim Tech Hub. It offers over 65 services, including AI, to government and commercial clients. The facility is built to withstand and was constructed by Bynet Data Communications. All right, Bynet Data Communications, which we could probably click on that. It's very important right now. So it says key details of Oracle's Israel cloud region. Located Jerusalem, Israel, underground bunker design, capacity 460,000 square feet across 4 floors. Okay. security and safety, designed to operate independently via its own power generators during conflicts. Okay, and we often hear about guys like BB disappearing. Who knows if he's not going down there or not? Because we know those regular Israelis, they're just going like underground to like railroad stations and stuff like that and camping out from the bombs above ground. But we're talking about these higher ups, all right? Where are they going? Where are they disappearing to? At these times where they risk a bomb dropping on their home, all right? So anyways, designed to operate independently via its own power generators during conflicts. And then I'm not saying that they're going down here and hiding. I was just kind of making a point there because obviously, these things are active and running and people are down there doing whatever they do. It says secured against physical and cyber threats. All right, target clients, government, defense, financial institutions, and technology firms. Services offers Oracle Cloud Infrastructure or OCI, including autonomous database and Kubernetes, I don't know, ensuring data remains within Israel. All right, background and purpose. Launched in 2021, the site is designed to address local data regulations and provide low latency connectivity via Oracle Fast Connect. All right, and even the scriptures speak about Oracle, right? Speak as the oracles of the Most High, concerning the prophecies, right? And so we know Esau, which I forget which word goes into it, but one of those definitions that comes up in that particular word is deceitful precepts. All right, I almost want to say it's in Thessalonians, one of the lying signs and wonders when you go to one of those words there. I believe deceitful precepts come up, but I might be wrong. But anyways, I know I read that somewhere in one of those words there. But yeah, deceitful precepts and things of that nature. And we know that Esau pretty much is making AI his god. All right. And revelation of the method, right? He'll tell you a thing, then he'll do it. And he has operated like that for a long time. But now that those enchantments are just kind of wearing off on the people, all right, according to the Spirit of the Lord. But anyways, to continue on with this, what we're reading here. So it says the facility is aimed at the defense industry and large banks requiring requiring high level security with construction overseen by local government regulators. All right. Now, the guy that was mentioned here, I believe that his name, yep. So she mentioned that there was a guy that, because the talk has been about the ballroom, right? This recent shooter activity happened, which, it was staged. Okay. Oh, and the guy, I wish I could remember the guy's video because now I'm thinking about it. He actually showed super, super clear video of that blurry one that they showed us about the guy running through the checkpoint and all this kind of, and it shows one of those, we just call them officers or whatever, agents, officers with a dog standing at the doorway he ran through. He was standing at the doorway because they showed the guy that was supposed to be the shooter. Okay. These are thoughts that even I had and that he brought out. Like, okay, so shots are supposed to be fired. This guy's supposed to be shot. He walked in with fully clothed. So how is he shirtless and wrapped in this silver plastics, whatever? I don't know. So it's just madness, all right? So Esau sloppy, okay? But it goes to show you that, those that don't really, see what's going on, they can be fooled by anything, all right? But for a lot of people, that magic is wearing off because people are seeing through. It's like, oh, this is fake. But anyways, so they show the guy walking from down the far hallway into that doorway that he ran out of. So he walked from down the hallway into the doorway. The officer stood there with the dog and he was speaking. And as soon as the officer turns away with the dog, immediately the guy comes running out the door with the shotgun in his hand. So it's like, hold on now. So how did you get all of your equipment or whatever, and out? And how did you do that in that split second time when the officer and the dog was standing right there in the doorway? And as soon as the officer turns, all of a sudden you have now come out with your shotgun. So of course it's staged, all right? And people are seeing through Esau's sloppiness, and then he ran through Okay, so, but anyways, so, and this was all about, and then, because, even the video showed the chick that was sitting to the left of Trump. She heard shots and then she just smiled and carried on. Now, whether or not she was in on it, who knows? Because you can have people that are in on it as well as people who are just paid actors who are there just to pull off the stage act. But the point I'm making is, which brothers have even talked about. All of a sudden now he's talking about, oh, this is why we need the ballroom and more safety and so on and so forth. Well, so going into back into those two videos here, mainly the one that I watched, the Drake chick, right? So so there's supposedly one guy working on the construction of the ballroom as the architect. He was fired, and this guy that we have on the screen now was hired, whose name is Shalom Baronese, however you pronounce it, right? Shalom, anyways, is his name. So we have him on the screen. So it's just Shalom B Faia is a prominent American architect and the founding principal of Shalom Barron's Associates, or SBA, a Washington, D.C. based firm established in 1981. He is widely recognized for shaping the architectural identity of the U.S. Capitol, all right, of the U.S. Capitol, which we know, a lot of things in here in America have been based off of, like we just say Masonic, stuff, degrees, like angles and symbols and stuff like that, all this kind of numbers and stuff like that they like to use on the left. So he is widely recognized for shaping the architectural identity of the U.S. Capitol through high-profile government and commercial projects. So this is the guy right there. Okay, so key projects and expertise. All right, I don't know how you pronounce the last name. So Shalom is a specialist in hardened infrastructure and the modernization of sensitive federal facilities. And if I didn't say it already, I think I might have did. But if I didn't, this is the new guy that was hired for the ballroom construction. All right. So the Pentagon, following the 9/11 attacks, he led the project to harden and modernize wedges 2 through 5, incorporating bomb-resistant architecture and secure compartmented information facilities, or SCIFs. I'm sorry, SCIFs. All right, White House State Ballroom. In December 2025, President Trump selected Shalom to oversee the design of a new White House ballroom to replace the demolished East Wing, which we know that was just announced over last year. Okay, so federal modernizations. His portfolio includes major overhauls of the main Treasury building, so more, okay, and the U.S. Department of the Interior headquarters. So he's not just some, sloppy secondhand guy, right? His work is known, and Trump saw him for this ballroom. All right, so we're going to show you how all this leads down, because I think you probably wonder what we're getting to. So it says urban landmarks. He has designed significant DC developments like City Center DC and Burnham Place at Union Station. I don't know about either of those. Or maybe brothers that live in the area probably know exactly what that is, or maybe even where it is, or what it's about, whatever the case may be. But anyways, background and personal history. Refugee status. Born in Italy to a Jewish parents, all right? Born in Italy to Jewish parents who fled Libya to escape anti-Semitic sentiment. So, yeah, this is what they say, right? Because they can throw, anti-shimmy sham anywhere they like, all right? As long as it flows with whatever piece of information that they're, supposedly giving you. But anyways, he immigrated to New York at age 6 with the help of the Hebrew Immigrant Aid Society, which I don't know much about, but I've definitely heard about this multiple times. All right, the HIAS advocacy. He has been a vocal advocate for immigrants and refugees, notably writing whatever. Professional honors. Was one of the youngest architects elevated to the AIA College of Fellows. Okay. So moving on, because we have more stuff. Because I didn't expect all of this to pop back up, because I lost my page, but all of this information was still here. So we have it. So I told it to tell me more about Israel's underground data center by Oracle. Because remember early on in the video, Oracle was the new addition to what was it? The Pentagon. Seeking out 7 major tech companies. Oracle was added. All right. And then we also talked about something else in the earlier portion of the video, Palantir. Saying that data is power, and Palantir has access to something like that. And Palantir is in all these different places. Okay. So, transition back to this. So the underground data center by Oracle, because we know there's a big talk about these data centers everywhere. Data centers here, data centers there. Okay. Data centers in Jerusalem. All right. Underground. Okay. And they take up a lot of energy and water and things of that nature. It takes a lot, resources to sustain these things. So Oracle's underground data, and I'm show you how this could, not really connects, but it's the same idea. All right. So Oracle's underground data center in Jerusalem, known as the Israel Central or IL-Jerusalem 1, Jerusalem 1, I guess, cloud region, is a high security bunker facility designed for extreme resilience. It was the first hyperscale cloud region in Israel, is established to meet strict sovereignty requirements for government, defense, and financial sectors. All right, physical architecture and security. The excuse me, the facility. Slow down just a little bit more. I'm not in a rush. The facility is engineered to withstand physical attacks, including direct missile hits and car bombs. In which I don't understand car bombs. Maybe that's for the surface level, but whatever. Because if it's underground, what the hell does a car bomb have to do with? Anyways, including direct missile. I guess it's just speaking about its integrity, with its strength. All right. Anyways, including direct missile hits and car bombs, ensuring service. Yeah, missile hits is major though, because you have obviously missiles, but then you have bunker buster missiles. This is several levels. I think it's like 9 levels underground. I can't remember if it mentions it here. Okay, actually I see it right here. It says 4 floors deep. So I know saw somewhere where something mentioned 9 levels underground. Maybe it was something else, but let's just keep reading with what we have here. And maybe that'll pop up. If it does. If it doesn't, we just read what we have. So it says ensuring service continuity during regional conflicts. So what we just talked about, subterranean depth. All right, going underground. The data center extends 4 floors deep, reaching a depth of 50 meters or 160 feet below ground, which I believe we already stated up above somewhere. Reinforced structure. It is housed beneath a here we go. It is housed beneath a 17-story building. So this is probably why it's able to withstand car bombs. But once again, if it's underground, I just don't get that point. But anyways, it is housed beneath. Getting some packages. It is housed beneath a 17-story building and 5 levels of parking. Okay, so super deep here. In the Har Holtz Vim Tech Hub, which it doesn't state if the parking level is one of these above grounds, like you have these tall buildings, and then the parking it goes up until you get to the roof, or is it the building and then the parking structure goes down and then it's further down beneath that. So it doesn't really clarify. But anyways, so once again, in the Har Holtz from Tech Hub, which is a particular area, all right, its uppermost ceiling is made of steel plate coated concrete. All right, steel plate coated concrete. So concrete being heavy in structure within itself, as well as steel, and then coating the concrete with steel. All right, so steel plate coated concrete specifically designed to resist explosions. Why? Because we know what Esau is up to. All right, all these data centers and collection of data. All right, it all leads up to him thinking that once the bombs drop in America's destroyed. Also, Israel is going to get decimated, but Esau thinks that he's going to come up out of the ashes to continue rebuilding, and so on and so forth. Okay. Oh, getting those packages. But we know the scriptures say that they're going to hide into the bunkers, and the next time they come out of them is going to be in. All right, change, man. Okay. Oh yes, yep, that sounds. Man, can I pull up? I'm not sure. I don't want to lose this, but it's basically in Psalms 149. I wouldn't have to really get it. Just making that small minor point. I want to pull it up on the screen, but it's okay. Psalms 149, to bind their kings with chains, and then there was the fetters of iron. All right, so that's the next time they're going to come out of those bunkers, which is in chains for slavery, not to rebuild the world under their AI system once the bombs have dropped. Okay, so operational independence. The site features its own power generators, right? Because when in the event where power goes out or EMP strike happens, well, they have generators, so they're not worried about that. The site features its own power generators, allowing it to function independently, of the local grid during emergencies. All right, regulatory oversight. Construction and installation were overseen by the Shin Bet and the National Cyber Administration to ensure it met national security standards. All right, expansion. The second data center, all right, in early 2024, Oracle CEO Safra Katz announced plans for a second underground data center in Israel to double the company's investment and provide enhanced disaster recovery. Yeah, so they say. All right, thou sayest even deeper. The second facility is planned to be there. Yeah, see, I knew it read somewhere. See, even deeper. The second facility is planned to be 9 floors on the ground. So the first one is 4 levels deep. All right, and the next level is, or the next one is supposed to be 9 floors deep. This is daggone something straight out of the the Resident Evil movie. Okay, the first one with Mila Jovovich. Okay, going down there in the beneath the mansion. All right, there's a hive, right, all the way all these floors down. Anyways, purpose the Esau in his movies, right? This expansion supports a. I'm not saying this has anything to do with the movie or whatever. I was just it came to mind, all right? Purpose. This expansion supports a dual region strategy, right? A dual region strategy, okay? Ensuring that if one site is compromised, data and services remain available within Israel's borders. So if one gets knocked off or fails or whatever happens, we got the other one still running. So we can continue moving forward with our plans. All right, cloud service capabilities. The Jerusalem region offers over 100 core cloud services, including, here's Oracle again, Oracle Cloud Infrastructure, or OCI, autonomous databases, all right, and AI processing, all right, Oracle Cloud Infrastructure, OCI, all right, which includes autonomous databases and AI processing. Okay, data sovereignty. By keeping data physically in Israel, it allows regulated industries like healthcare, and military to use public cloud benefits while complying with local laws. Yeah, whatever. This is rhyme and reason, right? High performance. Local servers reduce latency for Israeli tech companies, supporting advanced AI models and high performance computing HP. So here's that particular area there. Holtzfilm. I can't really see it on the map because it's zoomed in, and I don't want to click on it because I don't want to lose this here. All right. But I noticed something here. It says map data from 2026, so this is a super recent. So I don't want to lose all this here. We just keep going because I think there's some more. Look, here's there you go. Look, check this out. Oracle to launch massive underground. See, Oracle's linked in there. Underground cloud data center in Jerusalem, spread across thousands of meters. It is designed to be one of the most secure in the Middle East. Okay, cloud region in Israel coming soon. Look, this is dated way back February 10, 2021. Technology giant Oracle said on Tuesday it will launch an underground cloud data center in Jerusalem, partnering with Bynet Data Communications. Oracle is the first global tech giant to open a cloud region in Israel, constituting an unprecedented investment in Jerusalem. Now, all of a sudden, the Pentagon is linking up with it. Around the same time, Trump is pushing forward this ballroom. Now, we're going to get to that in a minute, though. All right, the data center extends over 4 floors at a depth of 50 meters. So we just read all of this, and the second one is supposed to be 9 floors deep. All right, let's go back. Let's see. This is why I was worried about losing. Okay, so here we go. All right, so now tell me about the Pentagon's new AI deal with the 7 major tech companies. Okay, so the Pentagon, all right, which I can actually see one of the sites that it picked up from. Actually, 2 of them I see. Actually, I think the one in the middle, that H is the Hill. Of course, the one to the right is Reuters, and that G there has to be the Guardian because I use the Guardian often. And then I guess 8 other sites. So the Pentagon announced on May 1st, 2026, that it has reached agreements with 7 leading AI companies to deploy their advanced technology on the U.S. military's classified networks. Okay, read it again. The Pentagon announced on May 1st, yesterday, 2026, that it has reached agreements with 7 leading AI companies to deploy their advanced technology on the U.S. military's classified networks. Which, if I'm correct, that was what we opened with. All right, because mind you, the first portion of this video I did yesterday. So I think that was what we opened with. So the deal is designed to transform the Department of Defense into an AI first fighting force. That was earlier. Okay, we mentioned already, enabling troops to use these tools for mission critical tasks like logistics, situational understanding, and battlefield decision making. right? The 7 participating companies. The following companies have agreed to the Pentagon's any lawful operational use standard for their AI capabilities. Also from the Guardian, I just noticed that. OpenAI, providing frontier models for deployment on secret and top secret networks. Google, okay, yeah, Google, what's the supposed to be a meaning 100 zeros after the one or something like that. I forget exactly what Google goes into. Integrated into military's class, but we know Google's owned by these guys, these big wigs, okay? Integrated into the military's classified network environments, all right? Integrated into the military's classified network environments. So NVIDIA, providing Nemotron, yeah, I guess that's how you pronounce it. NVIDIA providing Nemotron AI models specifically designed to build autonomous agents. Okay, I might do it on screen, I might do it off screen. We'll see. It says Microsoft extending its existing cloud infrastructure to support advanced AI models. Excuse me. All right. Amazon Web Services, that was also mentioned. Okay. AWS. It says providing infrastructure and proprietary models for classified work. All right. SpaceX. All right. Owner of XAI. All right. Partnering to bring advanced AI into the military's tech stack. All right. Interesting. Reflection AI, a newer entrant backed by 1789 Capital, specializing in rapid deployment on secure networks. All right. Note Oracle was also later identified as a partner in these efforts. Okay, moving on. Key details of the agreement. Classification levels. The AI tools will be integrated into Impact Level 6 or IL6 and Impact Level 7, IL7 networks, which are used for secret and top secret data. Yeah, because they didn't explain that up above, or not up above, but earlier. I think we read over that in the earlier portion, or maybe in the first part of this video. So that's what IL6 and IL7, Impact Level 6 and 7, all right, networks go into, which they are used for secret and top secret data. So I'm guessing IL6 for secret and 7 for top secret, all right, higher level. Okay, lawful operational use. A central requirement of the deal was that companies agree their technology can be used for any lawful operational use by the military. All right. Speed of integration. The Pentagon has reportedly accelerated the timeline for bringing these technologies into classified environments from 18 months down to less than 3 months. Right, targeted missions. AI will be used to analyze vast amounts of data to improve targeting, streamline weapons maintenance, and organize complex supply lines. Right. The Anthropic controversy. A major part of this announcement was the exclusion of Anthropic, the maker of Claude chatbot. Let me see if we can keep going here. Dispute. Wait, hold on. Actually, the dispute. Anthropic refused to agree to the any lawful use clause, citing concerns about how its AI might be used in warfare or domestic surveillance. All right, then it mentions retaliation, supply chain risk, legal action, da da da. Is there anything else? Okay, so that was the last thing there. What was that I had? I want to see what Nemotron's going into real quick. Nemotron is NVIDIA's flagship family of open AI models and datasets. Okay. Specifically designed to power autonomous AI agents rather than just standard chatbots, while many AI companies focus on closed systems. All right. Anyways, and basically pulling all this stuff together here. All right. Oracle, data centers in Jerusalem underground, two they're supposed to have. And then you have this talk about the staged supposed assassination attempt, okay, of number 47, all right, at this dinner. Then the first thing that was spoken about is, oh, this is why we have to build this ballroom. And then you had people who, I think that was in one of those videos, I can't remember if it was hers or the guys that I watched, which I don't have anything from old buddy's video, but it showed a bunch of people online, which had to be staged also, talking about, pretty much basically supporting, building the ballroom. So what? How does all this information all of a sudden come out of nowhere all at the same time? All right, and we know that pretty much taxpayer dollars pay for all these different things that happen. All right, this ballroom, which they'll probably construct the ballroom above ground, just like Israel in their however 17-story building and the parking complex, but everything's underground. Okay, so and we can't say this is true or not. I'm just making some points from things that I saw and dig up into. Okay, so who's to say that they're not going to still build the ballroom and then build the data center underground? Which when you watch the well, I guess at this point you have watched that clip of old girl. I guess if that's why I placed it in that. But if you watch the whole 16 minutes, 16 to 17 minutes, she fully goes into all of it, which she makes some pretty valid points. All right, that interesting to look into. Okay, and the overall thing we know is what Esau is, excuse me, trying to do. All right, he wants to take over this world, and the main one stopping him are you Israelites standing in his way? Because let me see, let me pull up a scripture here. Let's get this. I think that's in Job 5 Enterprise. Yeah, Job 5. Okay, so yeah, Job 5 and 12. It says he disappointed the devices of the crafty. Okay, so who are the crafty? He's talking about Esau, Edom. Let's get the word crafty. All right, Ira 1, which takes you back to Genesis, the 3rd chapter, at the top of the chapter, when it mentions the serpent in the garden. This is one of the same words that comes up. Ira 1, okay? Subtle, shrewd, crafty, sly, sensible, crafty, shrewd, sensible, prudent. Now, when you go back to Iram, all right, it's the same thing there, okay? As a matter of fact, let's make that point real quick, because we mentioned, because it takes you back to the serpent, because we're talking about the serpent, and I'm not in a rush, because more than likely, we'll be camping tomorrow, if things don't fall through for me. One for one, it's raining, so I don't have anywhere to really camp when it's raining. I thought I had, some transportation lined up, but it's not exactly going my way right now. But we'll see what the Lord has lined up. So if things fall through, we'll try to travel somewhere we can camp, under some shelter. And if not, then you'll just we're gonna hit camp tomorrow, but we will be a little willing. Um, what was I about to grab? Genesis 3. See, now the serpent was more subtle than any beast of the field. All right, these beasts are talking about people. I think it says in Ecclesiastes 3rd chapter. All right, it speaks about men as beasts. Okay, so we know men can be likened unto beasts as well, or actually called beasts as well. So when you get the word subtle, there it is. Irawam. Okay, Irawam, subtle, shrewd, crafty, sly, sensible. Okay, and we're talking about a person here because that was not a snake in the garden. All right, this was a man. Right, that serpent was a man. The word is nachash in the Hebrew. Okay, so you see all this stuff here, but if you go back to the root word of nachash, you get to practice divination, divine, observe signs, learn by experience, diligently observe, practice fortune telling, take as an omen. And this is Esau and his sorcery, his witchcraft, his magic, his soothsaying, his astrology, and all his different things. This is not a snake, because Esau will have the snake somewhere in the museum, whether it be alive or dead. He would definitely have it on display, saying that we discovered this. So where is this walking, talking magical snake? It doesn't exist. Well, it does exist, just not in the animal form. It exists in the human form. And we're not talking about reptilians. We're talking about the Edomites, man. Okay. All right. This serpent is the beginning of the whole lineage of Esau, Edom, but it's through, reincarnation. So, you have the serpent in the garden, right? Then you had Cain. Then eventually you get Esau, and, his generations continue throughout the scriptures. All right. So this is how we know that this is talking about a man and not a snake. All right. So there you go. So we proved that. So we know who the crafty is. See where I was. Yep, Job 5. He disappointed, and who's going to disappoint him? Yahweh Basham Yahweh Shah is going to disappoint him. The devices, right? For we're not ignorant of Satan's devices, okay? Because he just wants to rule the world. The word is Machashaba. If I said it right, Machashaba. All right. See, thought, device, plan, purpose, invention. See, part of his inventions is his data centers. Okay, he's underground bunkers and even underground data centers now. Okay, his CBDCs, his micro C hips, all these different things. Okay, so look, it says to devise a plan, to think, to do, devise a plan. An evil plan is what he's calculating the evil plan. All right, he's imagining the evil. Why do the heathen rage and the people imagine a vain thing? All right, so he disappointed the devices of the crafty, so that their hands cannot perform their enterprise, which is what? Their new world order. This is what all this scrambling and building and monitoring and surveillance and all these different things and data collection is all for his new world order system that he's ready to launch very soon. We don't know the day or the hour because these things are in the hands of the Lord. But this is what it all leads up to. He wants to control the world, mainly you Israelites, whether you be dead or whether you be chipped. Doesn't matter to him, because if you're dead, you're just out the way. But if you're chipped, okay, then those that are dead, in his mind that is, just be born into the world and then we just chip the baby. See? So he's now taken over perpetually, but that's not how the scriptures are written. All right? That's in his mind. In their inward thoughts is that their house shall continue forever. Okay? And I'm not sure with hands, because I think I've been to this word before, dealing with the angels in Psalms 91. I'm curious what hands goes into. Okay, yep, see, strength, power. See, like I thought. Strength, power, it also says hands of men or hand of men, okay? So yeah, see, it's that because it says that the earth has been given into the hands of the wicked. Is that Job 9:24? Because we're in Job, we can jump over there real quick. Here it is right here. And light it up. Some good old red, right? Or pinkish red. The earth is given into the hand of the wicked. Who are the wicked? Esau, Edom. Malachi 1, verse 3 and 4 in particular, but 4 in particular says it calls them the border of wickedness. See? So the earth has been given into the hand of the wicked, Esau, Edom. We've already established who this is talking about. All right, this crafty guy. He covered the faces of the judges thereof. Who gave you God that was white? Who gave you the finger of God and Adam and all that homosexual looking stuff in the Sistine Chapel? Who gave you Jesus who was white? Who gave you angels, Cupid baby white? Who gave you the saints white? Okay. Who made all the powers to be as Edomites? The Edomite himself. Okay. Mostly coming from that Renaissance period. First Maccabees 3:48. The heathen laid open the book of the law and sought to paint the likeness of their images. And he did that majorly during the Renaissance period, all right, seeking to destroy our legacy, our lineage, I should say. Okay, I guess legacy was still a good word, but our history is an even better one. There you go. All right, and seeking to keep, which he's done. All right, that covering cast that he's castled over, the whole world, but they never included Yahweh Bashim Yahushua to their plans. Okay, which ties into what? Ezekiel the 37th chapter. They never tied those things into play. See? So if not, where and who is he? So we know who it is because Esau is the one. Okay? So I just wanted that because it says, oh, let me get hand over here as well. Let me see. Hand into the hand. There it is right there. Yod. All right. Hand of man, strength, power. See? You can't make it up. Okay? This is that goes back to his blessing, man. That he would have the fatness of the earth and the dew of heaven from above. And that he was given his sword. And that's how he maintains that first half of the blessing that we just quoted there. All right. This is his strength, his power, his sword. Okay. And the earth has been given into his hands, which is why he thinks that he owns it and runs it and is going to do so forever. Why he thinks every resource and, whatever just belongs to him. Well, really, he's just a fugitive and a vagabond, like his forefather, Cain. He's wandering through the earth, taking over places and territories and setting himself up in places that he shouldn't be and calling himself after names that is not originally his. Anything to run from the one name that he is, which is Edomite. Okay, Idumean. So let's go back. Oh, I forgot. I bounced over here. So let me just 5. So he disappointed the device of the crafty. All right, so all those things make sense, and we just quoted from 2 Corinthians chapter 2 verse 11. Lest Satan which also goes into Esau, okay? Not the spiritual demon Satan, which you can, but in this case, we're talking about the people, all right, because it means adversary, okay? All right, so lest Satan, the adversary, should get an advantage of us, all right, to pull one over on us, all right, get the wool over his eyes, over our eyes. Numbers 23:23, there be no enchantments against Jacob, all right, for we're not ignorant. Ignorant means to not know of his devices, see? And we're talking about his devices right now, or some of his devices, because he has many devices, all right? Is that, I think there's a scripture, many other devices, I mean, I just be thinking of something else. Many are the devices of the wicked. I don't know why that sounds familiar. It might be a scripture, it might not be. Maybe I'll look it up later, Lord willing, if I remember. Anyway, so that their hands, see, hands cannot perform their enterprise because they think they have the power of the earth and they're going to have the power of the earth forever. But what does it say in Revelation 12? All right, that their place was found no more in heaven, in power, in the very power seat that he thinks he's going to reign in forever. Okay, that's what's said about the Israelites. Okay, that they shall take the kingdom and shall possess it forever, even evermore. Okay, Isaiah 40, I think it's 45. Okay, Israel shall be saved, a world without end. He taketh the wise in their own craftiness, you see, and the counsel of the froward is carried headlong. The NLT says he frustrates the plans of schemers, so the work of their hands will not succeed. He traps the wise in their own cleverness, so their cunning schemes are thwarted. All right, so this is Esau. All right, but that I don't think enterprise really goes into anything, but that was the key thing we went over here for. His enterprise, all right. His hands cannot perform his enterprise, his new world order. All right. Sound or efficient wisdom, that's on the left hand side. All right. But the knowledge of wickedness is not wisdom, man. Abiding success of the effect of sound wisdom. Wisdom, sound knowledge, success, sound or efficient wisdom, abiding success. Okay. Because it's all been over him thinking, let me get that. All right. That he is going to create for himself on the left hand side what belongs to Jacob, meaning us Israelites, you so-called Negroes, Latinos, and Native Americans, as well as you speckled birds scattered throughout the four corners of the earth, even those of you who may look like the heathen nations, but your bloodline goes back to that of an Israelite, as the scripture has said, the Spirit bear witness with our spirits that we are the sons of the living power. Okay? And that's why your spirit resonates with this truth. Hebrews 12:16. Lest there be any fornicator or profane person as Esau, talk about the Edomites, the Idumeans, who from one morsel of meat sold his birthright. For you know how that afterward, when he would have inherited the blessing, he was rejected, for he found no place of repentance, though he sought it carefully with tears. See? One more time, read it. Lest there be any fornicator. All right. It says in NLT, make sure that no one is immoral or godless like Esau, because Esau's God is going to be AI. That's what he's creating, AI, to be his God. Who traded his birthright, going back to Genesis, the 25th chapter, who traded his birthright as the firstborn son for a single meal. And why is that important? Because when the father has an estate and riches and whatever else, all right, and he has two sons, the estate goes down to the eldest son. Well, hold on, let me clarify. That youngest son will get a portion of, a blessing from his father, but also the older son. But then also the older son will get the whole entire estate. So kind of like the older son gets a double. All right. Example of that is Joseph, all right? Reuben, because he slept with his father's concubine. All right. The firstborn, was taken from him and given to Joseph. And through Joseph, he had his sons, Ephraim and Manasseh. All right. Or Manasseh and Ephraim being the Cubans and the Puerto Ricans. And they were given what? A double portion. See? But anyway, that's just an example of what we're saying, both on the left and the right. Okay. So who for one morsel of meat sold his birthright, for ye know how that afterward, when he would have inherited the blessing, he was rejected, for he found no place of repentance, though he sought it carefully with tears, because he thinks that he's going to upset prophecy. He's going to establish his digital system and his microchips to enslave all humanity, but especially number one, you Israelites, because you're the one standing in his way of achieving this left-handed blessing that we're not even a blessing really in his mind. It's a blessing but he's trying to create this on his own, on his own accord. But you get my point. this left-handed blessing that we just read here. Okay, you Israelites are the ones standing in the way, which really it starts with the remnant, but you get the point though. All right. So all this is all these things that he's doing, all this craziness, all this AI madness, you know, it all leads into his enterprise, his new world order. But he's going to be upset. As a matter of fact, what's that scripture? Let's see if I can type in. What's my keyboard? My keyboard. Okay, here we go. Fill his belly. All right. So Job 20. You can start right here. Job 20 and 22. In the fullness of his sufficiency, he shall be in straits. What's the word for sufficiency? The NLT says, in the midst of plenty, they will run into trouble and be overcome by misery. That's interesting, right? Because we're at the height of his empire right now. Okay, and the climax of it is when he finally brings out the MOTB. All right, and that's when he's going to fully fall down, because the Lord is not going to allow him to, you know, take his elect. All right, word is saquak, hand clapping, mockery, scorn, a little meaning dubious. All right, to slap, to clap, which also, like it says in Lamentations 2. All right, they hiss and clap their hands at the daughter of Jerusalem. As a matter of fact, I wonder what that word clap goes into. Let's go. Somebody call me. I don't know. Let me see. Joe 20. I'm trying to distract me here. I'm trying to stay focused. Someone's calling me. 2 and 15. Here it is. Clap. Excuse me, not clasp. Clap. Same word, sequoc. Okay. Slash close clap. Okay. So there's nothing actually. There's kind of less here. Oh, look, check this out. In the following manner, clap also says smite, strike together, suffice, wallow. Okay, here's more, which I probably could have looked down below in the other word. To clap the hands in token of compact, or look, derision, grief, indignation, or punishment, but implication of satisfaction. To be enough, be implication of excess. To vomit, clap, smite, strike, suffice, wallow. So let's see if that was the same thing over here. Let's go back. I actually could have read that scripture. All that pass by clap their hands at thee, they hiss and wag their head at the daughter of Jerusalem, saying, is this the city that men call the perfection of beauty, the joy of the whole earth? See, they know who we are, man. Everybody knows who we are. It's just that our own people don't want to accept that who they are, who we say they are, through the spirit and power of Yahweh Shalom Shah. Tis whistle pipe, tis as a signal. Yeah, probably a mockery. So going back, okay, yeah, that word sufficiency there. Hand clapping, mocking, yep. So it says here, actually, chastisement, also say TD, stroke, sufficiency. Oh, I said that, right? Hand clapping, an example, mockery. See? But, you know, to get back on point with this, though, which it says it here, mocking, mockery, but, you know, I was, you know, I read down below to some of these other things, though. Yeah, and this is the same thing we read over there. Yep, see? Clap, strikes, so all those different things. So it's the same thing, same word, same meaning. So in the fullness of his sufficiency, he shall be in straits. All right, trouble. Every hand of the wicked shall come upon him. Which, if I'm correct, I forget that the word wicked actually, it goes into, you know. See, let's just put it all right. See, the laborer, okay, the worker, the workman. All right, because what is he doing right now? Everything that he's doing right now, which that main focus is really Babylon the Great. Everything he's doing right now, from the Strait of Hormuz blockage, and then number 47 putting a block on the block, it is highly affecting the American people. All right, prices going up and down, up and down, up and down, stressing people out. Oh, rent, oh, bills, oh, this, oh, that, oh, job, oh, jobs are closing. I'm getting fired. AI is taking my job. Or I can't find it. All these different things. I can't afford rent. I can't afford food. I can afford this. Can't afford that. Or I you know, can't get food stamps. Right? All this crying and moaning and complaining. And this is being strategically done against the American people. Okay. and in order to break this society down, push them like Joker in the movie. All they need is a little push, right? Give them that push to go into this chaos and sedition among men and all these different things. All right, let the course of their actions stand in their power, invading one another. All right, so that he can bring in his whole, you know, draconian measures, martial law, insurrection, all these different things, and eventually lead up to him establishing, hey, this is how we make things better. Microchip. All right. But it says, when he is about to fill his belly, the Most High shall cast the fury of his wrath upon him. Yep, it says that in Psalms 75:8. Is that it? Yeah. Let me light it up for you. Get some good old. Let's get some purple here. For in the hand of the Lord Yahweh Bashem Yahushai there is a cup, and the wine is red. It is full of mixture, and he poured out of the same. But the dregs thereof, right, the bottom, the nastiness, right, all the harshness, right, all the wicked of the earth shall wring them out and drink them, because it's not just Esau, Edom, it's also the heathen nations, and join together with them, though hand join in hand, the wicked shall not go unpunished, will be 2/3 of our own people. See? So when he is about to fill his belly, the Most High shall cast the fury of his wrath upon him, and shall rain it upon him while he is eating. See? He's going to be taken out the way. America's going to be destroyed. Esau's going to be in his bunkers, and he's, like we mentioned before, the next time he comes out of those bunkers, he's to be pulled out of it forcefully and by chains. Okay? So may the highest rain down his anger upon them in the NLT. And here it is right here. He shall flee from the iron weapon. What's that? The missiles, man. And the bow of steel, right? Because that bow is often talked about, the bow and the arrows, the archers and stuff like that, representing the missiles. It's just that the prophets had to explain them in the way that they knew how to explain them. Also, they didn't know exactly what the heck it was. They didn't know it was nuclear missiles. They just know that what they saw and how they saw and the best way for them to explain it, even though they didn't know, because nuclear missiles didn't exist back then. So they just said what they saw. So he shall flee from the iron weapon, and the bow of steel shall strike him through. Okay, it says when they try to escape an iron weapon, a bronze-tipped arrow will pierce them. See? It says the arrow is pulled from their back, and the arrowhead glistens with blood. The terror of death are upon them. And that's very interesting translation there. KJV says it is drawn and cometh out of the body. Yea, the glittering sword cometh out of his gall. Terrors are upon him. You see, it's talking about the missiles. Okay. We could probably just stop that right there. It says, all darkness shall be hid in his secret places. A fire not blown shall consume him. See, it's the same thing. It shall go ill with him that is left in his tabernacle. The heavens shall reveal his iniquity, and the earth shall rise up against him. And everybody's going to see this destruction of Babylon the Great. Okay? The increase of his house shall depart, and his goods shall flow away in the day of his wrath. Yeah, because he said, the scripture say that he's going to vomit them up. All right? And the kingdom shall be translated from one people to another. All that Esau is doing is in vain. All this data center and all this, collection of, data and all this AI stuff he's doing, it's all in vain, man. Okay, it's all in vain. But he has to do it because that's what the Lord created him to do. Okay, and as Lord David requested, deliver me, O Lord, from the wicked, which is thy sword, which is Esau. Okay, he was set up to do these things, so we know he's in his proper lot. We know that there's a lot of things he's going to do. All right, he's even going to get some of the elect, but that's a glorious death because you die for the kingdom. Just like in the ancient days, you had men that I died for my country. They're ecstatic to go to battle, even knowing that the odds might be against them, and they may not come home, but they rather die. They'll call it a glorious death or a warrior's death or whatever the case may be. Die fighting in battle for their country rather than bowing the knee or cowarding out and staying home and never even putting up a fighting chance. All right. And so our fighting chance in that same sense is, us, having trust and faith in Yahweh Bashem Yahushua. All right. Strive for the truth unto death, and he shall fight for thee. All right. It says the increase of his house shall depart, and his goods shall flow away in the day of his wrath, because he's not going to need them. All right. I mean, riches should not profit in the day of doom or evil. I forget exactly how it's worded, but they're not. That goes for Esau too. Doesn't matter how much things he collects and stores underground and wherever in the mountains or however he stores and wherever he stores it. In these bunkers. All right, stowed away. All right. The ultimate doomsday prepper is Esau, because he actually thinks he's going to survive and come back out and just continue taking over the world of wickedness. All right. But there'll be no flesh according to this man's rulership. This is the portion of a wicked man from the highest, and the heritage appointed unto him by the Most High. All right. So I know I went through a lot there. I actually didn't expect to go this long, but it quenched out the spirit, right? Plus, I don't think we're going to get to camp today, but I want to like I said, those things I looked into yesterday. It was very, very interesting with the whole ballroom situation and the so-called shooter, and then seeing the oracle from that article, the oracle and that tied in there. Then Israel and oracle, so all these things just kind of tied themselves together without even me even knowing what was going on there. They just kind of tied themselves together. So naturally, I just want to briefly speak about those things, which I didn't get into them deeply. I just kind of read through the information there and played the videos or whatever, because they kind of speak for themselves. But it all leads up to what? His ultimate agenda, his enterprise, his new world order, his micro-Siepan system. And as we read, when he's about to fill his belly, the Most High is going to overthrow him there, because he wants to overtake the world. And one of those main overtakings has to be the Israelites. But it's not written that way, because the elect will not be taken by this man. All right, so maybe I'll just leave it at that, because I'm not really thinking any other scriptures right now. Actually, I am thinking about one more. It's in the Apocrypha, where it says, never trust thine enemy, for as iron rusted, so is his wickedness. All right. And at the end, he will declare his wickedness. But since we quoted, we don't have to go over there and get it. So we'll just leave it at that. Lord willing, you will edify. Till next time, Yahshua, I'm going to say shalom.